Welcome into the Gary Ayd Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Online at cavetalkradio.com and, of course, the Cave Talk Radio app. Gary Ayd, Rich Anselmo, Facebook and YouTube Live. Good to have you. Exciting stuff. A lot to get to. Baseball continues to warm us up in the cold month of December. Christmas presents? Well, yeah, we got those too. We got Stevie Claus dropping dimes all over the place for us Met fans. Gotta love him.
Stevie, where'd you get all those dimes?
Where'd you get all them dimes from? Oh, I don't know. I just own a hedge fund that's worth $1 zillion trillion, and I'll just throw money around, man. This is like the equivalent of like someone who's worth $100,000 walking into a place like McDonald's and just like throwing money in the air, making it rain, walking into a club and just throwing $10 bills, $5 bills, $1, whatever. Like he throws $100 million plus contracts around, multi 8-figure contracts. Like they're like $10 bills. Like it's like a tip at a restaurant. This man's got so much money and he just absolutely doesn't care. He's a total Met fan. Every time you see him in public, he's in Mets gear. This guy's all about it. He's got the money. He's got the passion, and he's got a pretty good vision of like what it takes to win. He clearly understands baseball, man. As a Met fan, these are the golden years. Like this is one of the things. Like this is one of those times when like we always look back like with nostalgia and like longing for past. A lot of times that's just natural for humans to do. Right now, if there's ever a time as a sports fan to live in the moment, now is the time. If you're a Met fan, I know the season ended like crappily last year, and I'm not going to trust this team, like I said when it ended, until they do it in October. But I trust this owner to do everything he can to make sure they can do it in October. And I've never been able to say that before. So like appreciate what we have right now. The good thing about owners is they usually stick around a while. Cohen's not really that old. I think he's only in his early 60s. So, like, he could conceivably be an active force for this team for 20 or so years. Awesome. Like, I'm all about Stevie Claus right here. We got David Robertson now. We got Brandon Nimmo came back. They got him on an 8-year, $162 million deal, which I thought was a little rich for Brandon Nimmo. But, hey.
$20 million a year.
Make it rain. He doesn't care. Steve got the money.
This is the only gear I wear, baby.
That's right, Cave Talk Radio. I love it. Absolutely love it. Good stuff. But yeah, if you're a Met fan right now, you're pretty happy. Look, I mean, you've had a very interesting offseason. You've had a couple of big losses, Walker and, of course, DeGrom, but you replaced them right out of the gate with equal or better pieces in Verlander and Quintana. Now you bring back Nimmo, who you didn't want to lose, big part to your lineup. You bring in David Robertson to kind of maybe shore up that back end of that bullpen, middle part of that bullpen. And now, really, the only two question marks I still have for this team going into next year is I think they need one more power bat. Specifically, I'd like a third baseman. And I would like to see them move on from McCann, and whether they bring in another catcher or they just say, okay, it's Alvarez and who's their back? Is it Nimmo? Is that the defensive catcher? Not Nimmo, Nito. Yeah, Thomas Nito, right? He's the backup catcher. Yeah. So I would be okay going into the year with a combination of Alvarez and Nito. And maybe you bring in like a third emergency catcher because it's always good to have another one in stock. But I'm done with McCann. If they can move him for like, a bag of raisins, I'd be okay with that.
Get the box. They stay fresher, better.
All right, yeah, the golden raisins too. I'm going to insist on the golden raisins.
Oh, yeah. Gotta have the best.
But that's it. That's all we want. And then, but no, I think one more third baseman, one more power hitter, third baseman would be great. And maybe you want to get like one more outfielder for some depth. But I like the way this team's shaping up. The problem for this team is those damn guys up the Philadelphia Turnpike. Oh my goodness. What a scary, scary lineup they have now. Holy moly. Like, that is one terrifying lineup.
And they're still shopping too.
Oh, they're crazy. It's amazing. There's like 4 teams that all of a sudden just have like endless pockets. San Diego, Philadelphia, the Mets now, and San Francisco are just like throwing money around. Now, San Francisco keeps striking out. They haven't gotten to spend any of it, but it's not been for a lack of trying. That's for damn sure. They're willing to spend it. They just haven't closed any deals. Of course, they missed out on Judge, missed out, I think, on Turner. They were in on him too. They didn't get him. San Diego landed him. So they keep swinging and missing. But I'll tell you what, I saw a stat. The Yankees are going to have 3 or 4 players with $300+ million contracts on the payroll all at the same time. I don't want to hear the Yankees are cheap. I hear that from Yankee fans a lot.
How?
I really have no idea, but I hear this all the time. And one of the guys I hear it from is a respected author on baseball history. And he's a big Yankee fan. And we have this conversation. I was like, I don't know how you define cheap, but when I hear the word cheap and I'm thinking Major League Baseball, I see a picture of the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Baltimore Orioles, or the Miami Marlins. I don't see the Yankees. Like, they spend money all over the place. Now, there's a lot to be critical about the Yankees. I think their whole vision for how to build a team is completely flawed. And I think it's perfectly just, if you're a Yankee fan, to look at this and say, okay, we just spent a mint to basically bring the band back together, a band that can't play a tune in October. That's legitimate. And I agree. I've been saying that. But to say they're cheap, it's the same thing with the Knicks. Now, the Yankees are more competitive than the Knicks by a million on a regular basis. But Dolan's not cheap either. He spends money hand over fist willingly. He just sucks at it. He just spends it in the wrong places.
Oh yeah.
It's like, you know.
Except he gets some great guitars.
Yes. Well, that's his personal pet project, yes. But he gets money, he spends money all over the place. So I think it's only fair to call a spade a spade. I mean, the Yankees are not cheap. They're poorly built. They're poorly built.
And that's 1,000% on a GM that you just brought back.
Well, that's the part that's got to be maddening. You are running back everything. You brought back the GM. You brought back your star player. I mean, and you didn't really lose or gain anything significant other than that. It's been a pretty quiet offseason if you're the Yankees. And you need to get better. I mean, being the same, they weren't that close. The idea that they were close, they're not close. The only way they're getting closer is the Astros keep losing key players, but it seems to not matter anyway. But at some point, like I was saying a couple days ago, I feel like that has to eventually matter, but it hasn't to this point. So the Astros still remain the team. And then you have other teams in the AL now that are maybe trying to make moves. I think Seattle is chief among them. And Cleveland improved a little bit. So, but I think the National League East, getting back to my original point on this rant, that is going to be one scary division. I mean, you might have the 3 best teams in all of baseball in one division. I mean, it's really crazy.
How much does it take out of you beating each other up all year?
Yeah, I mean, it either hardens you and steals you for the playoffs, or like you said, it takes a lot out of you. I don't know. But there you have it.
And Philly proved last year, if you're hot at the right time, so did San Diego to a point.
That's it.
If you're hot at the right time, that's all that matters.
That's it. There you have it. So we got a lot to get to today. A ton of NBA games tonight. A few really, really good ones too. Really exciting ones. So I think we want.
Nice schedule.
Oh, it's a great schedule. Definitely going to spend some time on that. Of course, we have the question of the day. We also have NFL picks today. Of course, news you can use, the top 5. I was thinking about a top 5 for you, Rich. Every once in a while, I turn this around. And you've been around and following sports for a long time. We can either do this in your memory or we can do it all time beyond your memory too. But what I was thinking is, what about rule changes? What rule changes have you seen over the years that have been very positive for this sport? We always talk about rule changes as a bad thing. There have been some really good ones over the years. I think that would be fun to discuss.
Yeah, you want to do it today?
Yeah, why not? Let's do it. Positive rule changes that have improved the sport. So it doesn't matter what sport we're talking about. It can be any sport, combination of them. But I think that would be interesting to discuss. So we'll talk about that for today's top 5. Coming up next, we have the question of the day. Later in the hour, we'll do some NBA. We'll look at the NHL scores. And then we'll, of course, do our NFL picks probably after the top 5. Lot to get to. Just getting rolling. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. That's 800-370-2460.
Come on, you watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes. Then if you owe back taxes or haven't filed in a few years, get ready. The IRS, the largest collection agency in the world, will be coming after you with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Hey, they can freeze your bank account, your passport, even padlock your business. Oh, good times. Look, if the IRS claims you owe them $5,000 or more in back taxes and they're coming after you, don't panic. Call my friends at Get a Tax Lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do, and you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. That's 800-649-8617.
It's time.
The Nashville Predators have the smartest swag in the NHL. I am KO, back in 1 minute with your sports question of the day.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, you may qualify for a free continuous glucose monitor system. Managing your diabetes is crucial to your health. The new CGM systems can automatically manage your diabetes better for you. And by using a CGM system, you can eliminate forever one thing most people with diabetes hate the most: finger sticks. Now it's possible to manage your diabetes better, end the painful finger sticks, and get a new CGM monitoring system at little or no cost to you. We even provide in-home delivery and do all the insurance paperwork for you. Now is the best time to manage your diabetes better and get your continuous glucose monitor. Call now for details. Call 800-438-1391. 800-438-1391. That's 800-438-1391.
The Nashville Predators have released a new line of technologically advanced jerseys for their fans. The Preds' new Adidas Retro Reverse jerseys have been embedded with near-field communication tags, or NFCs, made by blockchain technology company Collect ID. Fans can access exclusive content and offers from the Predators by using their phone to scan the NHL logo on their jersey. The new jerseys are available at the Nashville Locker Room store at Bridgestone Arena for between $200 and $300. Question for those who like to scan: would you rather scan a QR code or yourself?
I'm the product now, huh?
Oh man, any way they can get information, they will.
It's nuts.
First of all, that's an absurd price for a jersey.
It really is.
Although it's not far off of what jerseys go for.
Yeah, that's why I've never bought a lot of jerseys, because they are very expensive. They really are. So I don't know. Like, I personally, I'm not scanning myself. First of all, it looks, you know how dumb that looks? Hey, me, yeah. Let's see. What am I worth? Oh, shit. That's
Well,
like,
you scan here. You scan the NHL crest on the.
yeah, I'm not going to scan myself with my phone. Like something I'm wearing. Like, no. Like, it's one thing if I scan the QR code in a store to maybe like buy something or like check a price. That's one thing. But something I'm physically already wearing, like, hey, just take, no, I'm not gonna do that. No. No.
I mean, if I want to see, if I want to see the in-seat menu, the arena here in Buffalo in a hockey game, I have to scan the QR code to get the menu.
Right, and that I'm okay with. You know,
they don't leave you paper menus anymore.
Yeah,
which makes sense.
Yeah, that I'm fine with. That's no big deal.
But that's not scanning yourself.
That's just weird.
You know, what other kind of data is it collecting?
Right. Well, there's that. The more nefarious question.
And what is the exclusive content that I'm getting?
Yeah. And at what expense? You know, there's a saying, if the product is free, you're the product. So if I'm getting, quote, free content, no, it's not free.
I mean, the day and age of programs at sporting events is gone.
Yeah, that's a shame. I always liked programs.
You scan for the program.
Yeah, it's no fun. Programs are something that I thought were good in paper form. I'm fine with menus being digital and not paper. That's not a big deal. But at least at a ball game, at a restaurant, I feel a little differently. I don't like scrolling through my phone at a table. It feels very impersonal when I'm at a restaurant, and it's maybe a bigger menu with a lot of options. Like a paper menu, I think is still functionally superior in an actual restaurant. At a bar,
as long as they clean them.
Yeah, whatever.
There's nothing worse than seeing a disgusting menu.
I don't think I've ever noticed if a menu was clean or dirty like one time in my life. So maybe I've always had clean menus. Maybe I've not. I can honestly say I've never noticed that in my life.
I have, but I look for that stuff.
Yeah, I could look for it and still not see it. That's why my wife does the cleaning around the house, because if we clean the house or don't clean the house, I won't notice the difference. And she'll be like, "Do you see anything?" It's like, "Well, there's the counter," and then she's like, "Never mind. I just don't notice. I really truly don't."
Oh, sure you don't.
I don't. I notice when the dishes are dirty. I do keep the dishes functional because I cook, but dust on the ground or dirt or anything like that, I'll never know. But anyway, yeah, I think functionally menus are better in paper form at a restaurant, but for a ball game, what am I getting? Hot dogs or sandwiches? I guess now ball games are they can be very decadent too. But if I'm getting your normal stuff, I don't need a big menu to look through that. I mean, because the thing is, if I do go to a ball game, I'm not going to a damn ball game to go and hang out at a restaurant in the concourse. Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm still going to get the normal things you get at a ball game: sausage and peppers, hot dogs, hamburgers, chicken fingers, whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, beef on wax.
So. Yeah, well, if you're in Buffalo, beef on wax.
Yeah.
Every place seems to have their own little special thing. Like in New York, at times you'll find like Coney Island knishes.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in like a place like maybe Minnesota, you might find some type of like bratwurst or something. Texas, you'll probably find some barbecue things. So California, you'll find avocado toast on quinoa. No, thank you.
I found some of the best food I've ever eaten in California. So
yeah, how long ago?
Not that long ago.
When I think California, I think craft beer, wine, and avocado toast. I'm down with the first one. Not a wine drinker.
Haven't.
Avocado toast is okay. And you're about to say I haven't been to California enough. You're absolutely right. I never will.
Yeah, and I haven't had a better burger than a place out just outside of LA that I like.
Yeah, I prefer to do my traveling within the United States, so I'll avoid California.
It's all the same thing to me. It's all a different experience, and I don't like missing any.
I'll avoid California. I'll stay in the US. I remember when we
But yeah, I'm not.
I'm not
Yeah,
scanning myself.
we
I
got
remember when we
deals.
moved my mom down to Florida. It was it was right in the middle of COVID. It was just started really heating up. It wasn't the middle of it yet. It was the beginning of it. It was March of 2020, so it was just starting to kind of heat up. And by that time here in New York, things were closed, masks were mandatory and all that. It was like middle or late March. I made a stop along the way, I think in Georgia, at some random like gas station convenience store type thing, the highway or right off the highway. And it was like none of that. And I just remember commenting to the waitress, because the waitress clearly not waitress, the clerk clearly knew I wasn't from the area based on my accent. So I was like, yeah, I'm just taking my mom down to Florida, blah, blah, blah. She's moving down there. And you're like, oh, have a safe trip. I said, thank you. It's nice to visit this country called America. It's pretty cool here. She got a good laugh out of that. But yeah, no, it's I'm not scanning myself. Looks funky.
Yeah, that's where I draw the line. Besides, I have all the content I need on my phone. So,
That's right.
I mean, what else are they going to give me that I need to watch the game?
Yeah, I mean,
It might be some information you don't get anywhere else, but if you don't get it anywhere else, how important is it?
that's very true. It's a good way to look at it. Well, there you have it. So that's our question of the day. No, we're not scanning ourselves. We're, I guess, too old for that. We're too cool for school, whatever you want to say. Either way, that's how this is going. So let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll get to the NBA. A lot of games tonight. And looking ahead to the weekend, a lot of games over the weekend, too. So we'll give you we'll look at today's games in a minute. Then in the second hour, we should have a little time, too. We'll look at what to watch over the weekend. So that's what's on tap. We'll be back after this. The Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
Before we dive into the NBA stuff, I do think it's appropriate to mention last night's football game on Amazon was entertaining. It turned out to be pretty good. It was close, and a late John Elway-esque drive by the venerable, recently added, fresh off the bus, not even unpacked from the suitcase, Baker Mayfield, 98 yards to seal the win for the Rams. Whoa, baby, as Dick Enberg would say. What a crazy turn of events. That was actually a fun football game. It was low scoring, but that's okay. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it immensely. And Mayfield, man, he comes through and he does. I mean, that was nuts. The Raiders had some late penalties that really hurt them, self-destructed, but Mayfield took them the length of the field to win that game.
It was very impressive. I didn't see it live, but I did see it. And I'm going to look at it from the Raiders' perspective. Who's responsible for 3 of the most embarrassing losses of the season? Josh McDaniels.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, as soon as the Ravens say, man, we can't hold a fourth quarter lead, the Raiders are like, hold my beer. I got your blown fourth quarter lead right here.
Right. Watch this.
Yeah. And unbelievable.
Oh, it really was. And I got
what impressed me the most about that drive was having no timeouts.
Yeah. I mean, that was like how long was that drive? How much time did they have on the clock to start that drive? Like a couple of minutes?
Something.
Yeah, right. Like 2 minutes and some change, right?
Yeah. And you did that without timeouts. The only stoppage you had was the 2-minute warning.
The 2-minute warning, yeah. It's pretty good stuff. So that was an exciting game. All right, taking a look at the NBA. I mean, we got a lot of games here, Rich. I mean, so many that are
some really good ones.
Yeah, this is today's games. We'll get into the weekend contests in the second hour, but for right now, let's take a look at some of these NBA games. I mean, you have so many here. I'll tell you what, one team that I'm quickly becoming a big fan of watching is the Sacramento Kings, and they'll be in action tonight.
That's the game I'm most intrigued with. The Sacramento game at Cleveland.
Yep.
I won't be home. I'll be at a game tonight, but I will watch it. Lakers at Sixers, I'm interested in too. If Anthony Davis has enough Kleenex.
Well, his ex-girlfriend's back home, so maybe he'll be in a good mood today. They were dating.
Fits an ex, I doubt it.
They were dating at one point, the two of them.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until relatively recently, like during this whole Griner saga. I wasn't aware of that, so that would have been one hell of a basketball playing kid if they had a child together.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
No, it doesn't look like it. But let's see. Yeah, you mentioned that game. I'm looking at the Mavericks and Bucks on ESPN tonight. That game's going to be fun. The Mavericks are playing a lot better. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They're 10-3 at home. This is exactly the type of game and marquee matchup where Luka is prone to having one of those like 45, 12, and 13 games, hitting game-winning shots. Like, I'm actually predicting the upset in that one. I think the Bucks are going to realize that the Mavericks are a little bit of a different animal. I think the Mavericks are going to win this game. I think we're going to see some Luka heroics tonight. That's what I'm predicting.
I hope so. I need to see them. I need to see them challenged. And I need to see them play like they mean it.
A couple other games.
Another one I'm interested in. Phoenix at New Orleans.
Yes, that's a really good one.
That's a who wants first place tonight again game.
Yep, that's right. I believe I heard Chris Paul will be back for that game. So
I've heard there's a chance.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Was he would
a pretty good chance?
Yeah, I heard he was going to play tonight. Lakers and Sixers is a game that interests me. You mentioned that one a minute ago. I agree with you on that. I like that game. That's
going to be a get well game for one team. Which one?
Who is it going to be? Right. So
Yeah, that's the question.
So those are the 4 games tonight. I think Bucks, Mavs, Suns, Pelicans, Lakers, 76ers, Kings, and Cavs. If there's one more game that has some moderate interest to me, it's Utah and Minnesota. These two teams are in similar places right now. Utah's a few games further along. I think that game could have some relative interest. But tonight, my order of operations, Mavericks and Bucks is certainly my favorite. I think Kings and Cavs is my second choice. Lakers, Sixers would be 3, and Pelicans, Suns would be 4. I don't love watching the Suns really, but I do like watching the Pelicans, and that's an important game in the standings. So, it's definitely worth checking out.
And both New York teams are playing tonight.
Yes, Brooklyn is playing Atlanta, and the Knicks
at home, and the Knicks are on the road.
Yep, they're taking on the Hornets. Both teams should be in a position to win those games. I think the Knicks are better than the Hornets, and I think the Nets right now anyway are better than the Hawks.
Agreed.
So there you have it. Good NBA stuff. Really good stuff. One last thing on this too. If you look at the way these teams are kind of lining up in the West anyway, we've talked a lot about the Western Conference being sort of not well competing. They're not as good as it should be this year, perhaps. The teams that are starting to maybe emerge a little bit in the West are much younger. I mean, New Orleans is very young. Utah got off to that fast start. They're incredibly young now after their offseason moves. Those two teams in particular. But I don't know that I believe any of it. Like I kind of believe New Orleans. They have a pretty good roster. I don't really believe in the Jazz much. They've fallen a little bit, but
I believe in Memphis.
Memphis is nice and young, but they've also been at this a little while. They're not new to the party of being a contending team anymore. This is like their 3rd or 4th year of being like relevant and good.
And that's fine.
Yep. So there you have it. Good stuff. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. Why don't we wrap up the hour? We'll look at some NHL scores. We'll also take a look perhaps at we have our NFL picks still to get to. We got the top 5. We got news you can use. Of course, we have the NBA and other things to watch over the weekend. So we'll come back. We'll do some NHL, maybe revisit some baseball, and then we'll do hour 2, top 5, NFL picks, news you can use, all that stuff. So stay with us. Back after this, Gary Ayd Show here in the cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
Here was the stat that I saw. 400 million spent by Mets owner Steve Cohen on new player contracts so far this offseason. And the best part of that $400 million, take a guess what percentage of his net worth that represents.
Oh, geez.
Take a
Probably
guess.
1%.
Almost, yeah, 2%.
Wow.
And of course, he's going to make money on this. It's not like the team's going to lose money. So he's not going to dig into his net worth to cover that. Of course, revenues will cover it. But, oh, it's so funny. 2% of his net worth. And he might not be done yet. Look, it sounds like the Mets are really in on this Kodai Sagana guy from Japan. Sounds like they might even be the leader in the clubhouse with that one. So stay tuned. It might still be a little bit of action left to happen in Queens. All right. That said, let's move our attention over to the NHL. What do we got going on the ice?
No games last night involving any teams. One interesting, not an interesting game because Toronto just whomped down the LA Kings, but Mitchell Marner scored a goal and he has now registered a point in 21 straight games. That's the longest streak of the season.
There you go.
We have all four teams playing tonight. Pittsburgh is at Buffalo. The Rangers are on the road to take on the depleted Colorado Avalanche. And we have a rival matchup. The Islanders are down in Jersey to take on the Devils.
Pretty cool stuff.
And one item of note, Chris Letang, the Penguins defenseman that had the stroke 10 days ago,
Yes.
returned to practice yesterday.
Oh, good.
And I may see him play tonight in Buffalo.
Must have been a very minor stroke. I mean, typically strokes are like pretty debilitating.
He caught it right away.
Okay.
I mean, as soon as he didn't feel right, he had a doctor there and knew the quick reactions in that can curtail a lot of a stroke.
Yeah.
And NHL scoring is up on numbers that I haven't seen in at least 30 years.
Wow.
I look at Connor McDavid. He's on pace to score 73 goals and have 158 points. You got three other players that are on pace for 60 goals or more. Scoring is up high, and I mean higher than it's been since like 93. And that might be a reason why the ratings are improving. I mean, just in the past 2 weeks, I've seen 2 9-goal games. One was 9-8.
9-8.
It was fun.
There you go.
It was a fun watch. And I think if that keeps up, I mean, I don't know why. My best guess is there's a lot of factors. The NHL's cracking down on obstruction. I think defenses are adapting to the increased speed and flow of the game. And I think scorers are finding flaws in goaltending. I mean, you look at like the Rangers, Shesterkin was unbeatable last year.
Yep.
This year, it's not the same. He's not even in the top 10 goalies in the league. It's not that he doesn't have skill anymore. It's just scorers are figuring things out.
Yeah, it's funny. Sports in general has gone very offensive over the last 15 years. And
yes,
the exception to that is baseball. Baseball pitchers have evolved to such a degree, it's become very hard to be a hitter. Like, I mean, and that's, I think, a big part of the reason why you're seeing a lot of this go for broke mentality and this hit it as far as you can, whenever you can, you know, home runs or bust type of mentality. I think part of the reason for that, it's not the whole reason, but a part of it is the fact that it's just damn hard to make consistent, solid contact. So
it is.
The odds of stringing together 4 or 5 straight hits, 3 or 4 straight hits are so much lower that, like, you may as well just go for broke. That I think that's the thought. And it's why I know we disagreed on this, but it's the chief reason why I was okay with banning the shift now, because I just think it's so hard to hit these days. And I'd like to see more action. But overall, sports has gone in the total direction of offense, and I guess the NHL is no exception.
Yeah. And to your point, I'll make two great examples of that. Christian Yelich
Oh, that's
was
a
a
good one.
300 hitter year after year
Yep.
after year. He struggles to hit 260 now.
Yep.
And you can look at Lindor and say the same thing.
Hmm. Yeah, he's another one. You're right. Yeah.
And maybe banning the shift will help.
A lot of it is also the fact that you're always facing a fresh live arm. Like, it's not that the guys are necessarily better, but everyone does throw a little harder. There's more guys that throw 98 plus. Almost everybody does.
Yeah.
And more to the point, you're almost always facing a fresh arm.
You're seeing a second arm by the 6th or 7th inning usually.
Every game.
You're seeing a third by the 8th and a fourth in the 9th.
Right. Yeah, you're seeing 4 arms a game on average.
And you don't have a chance to get a tired pitcher.
Right. And that has a lot to do with it, which is why I would like them to be more aggressive in enforcing this rule of minimum batters faced. Because again, if you are facing a little more tired arm occasionally, you would see some of that come back. I know it's all artificial, and I understand the lack of authenticity inherent in that, but I think it's the lesser of two evils versus continuing to just watch 3.5-hour games that feature so many strikeouts and basically a lot of nothing. I think you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. If you're the pitching has evolved to such a degree that you have to kind of do something, albeit a bit artificial, with the rules to give the hitters a better chance.
I was at a game in Pittsburgh last year, and one of their relievers threw 3 pitches in 2 minutes. I'm hoping the pitch clock changes some of this.
I hope so. I really do. That's brutal.
It's absurd. And that's the worst thing.
Yes.
To be sitting there going, is this guy going to throw?
Yeah, what's he doing, right? Is he balancing his checkbook? Is he thinking about what's for dinner? You see him hold the ball to his chest. He's really scanning his chest. He's got the emblem on his chest. He's looking at the menu.
So the ball has a scanner in it.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why the ball's way different. Okay.
There we go. That's right. Oh, that's funny. Oh, man.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so all right, well there you have it. It's interesting with the NHL too. There's a lot of new in arena entertainment that you've been telling me about in terms of just the different foods and the boxes and stuff. I know you go to a lot of these games. You're a season ticket holder with the Sabres. How is that experience maybe now compared to when you used to go to games pre-COVID? What's kind of the permanent changes that you're seeing?
There's not really a lot. It's pretty much business as usual, at least here and in other cities I've been in. It is. In-seat eating is always nice when you just scan a menu and a white person comes to take your order. Or you place your order and a runner delivers it, which is nice. I get there early. I get to everything I go to early. I like to watch pregame skates. I like to watch batting practice. I like to watch shoot-arounds. And that way I can eat before the game starts.
Yep. That makes sense.
But the choices are more. And most people still stick to the basics.
Mm-hmm.
But no, nothing's really changed.
Okay. I wasn't sure if there were some differences in maybe the QR codes we were talking about before that maybe are become more prevalent, and maybe the order flow is different, but that's good to hear that they're very similar. Oh, quick, while we have a minute.
If you did and distribute paper menus, you'd be printing paper every day, left and right.
Right. No.
So yeah, the QR code makes so much sense.
No, it does.
It's a little placard near the seats.
That's what I was gonna say. It's probably right on the seat, like the armrest or something, right?
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
scan it and the menu comes up.
Yep, makes sense. Quick programming note: this upcoming week, starting Monday, we will be Facebook only. Facebook only for the upcoming week. I'll be in Florida. We will not have someone back here at the main studio. So, because of that, we will be doing a Facebook Live throughout the week. Rich and I will have our normal show, normal times, but it will be Facebook. So,
And you'll be in God's waiting room.
I'll be in God's waiting room. That's right.
Oh,
I
man.
plan on leaving. This is just a
Good,
visit.
good.
Yeah, God said you can come check it out, but you can't stay here. It's not your time yet. I talked to him yesterday. He said, "Yeah, you don't worry about it."
I haven't been there in a while. The week everything shut down, I had tickets, airline tickets to see my sister
Mm.
in Florida, and haven't made it down since.
No. There you go. All right. Well, there you have it. So, a couple minutes left in the hour.
What's on your mind?
As far as right
Anything.
now. Oh, well, I'm really keeping an eye on the baseball free agency. Like that's been a big thing for me. I was reading during the last break, Carlos Correa is close to like an 11-year, $300+ million contract with Minnesota. So
I thought Minnesota wasn't going to re-sign him.
who knows? That was the last thing I read.
Unless they lost out on Dansby Swanson.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, they're not going to sign both of them. Oh, hell, who knows anymore? I mean, like San Diego, San Francisco, the Mets, even the Orioles. The Orioles talked a big game. I haven't seen them being on anyone really, but
And a minor signing or
Yeah.
two. Nothing.
bunch
I
of
know-
bark, no
I-
bite.
I know they were in some talks, but they haven't won anything.
Well, it's hard to just all of a sudden wake up after a 10-year slumber because you had a surprising season and think, okay, good, we're ready to spend. Now, who wants to come to Baltimore?
And no one does.
Wait, I said, who wants to come to Baltimore? Don't all answer at the same time.
I love
Hello?
that stadium, though.
Hello? Oh,
I love going to
We
that
tried.
stadium.
it is a nice stadium, but like, if I have to spend half the year in Baltimore, I'm thinking about it too if I have choices. Not exactly the nicest city in the world anymore. It used to be a lot
Yeah.
nicer. They kind of
Yeah.
did a number on it. Like
Very true.
It's like Detroit too. At one point in time, Detroit was like one of the preeminent cities in all of America. So was St. Louis and Baltimore for that reason. At one point in time, those three cities were like, they would be top of people's tongue when you ask the best cities in America. They would be near the top of all lists. You'd say New York, and then you'd probably start mentioning those two. Philadelphia probably would have been in that list. This is before the westward expansion really and the population boom over there really took hold,
Yeah.
which really didn't happen until, you had the gold rush in the 19th century, but then you had a long period of time really until like the middle of the 20th century before California really became like on par with like East Coast cities.
Right.
So
Right.
for a lot of the early 20th century, even to the mid 20th century, places like Detroit, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Philadelphia, St. Louis were like major destinations.
Funny thing is, Detroit, Baltimore, and St. Louis now are three of the most dangerous cities.
That's what I mean. I know. It's pretty crazy.
Along with Memphis.
Yeah, well, Memphis is, I think, been pretty dangerous for a pretty long time.
Yeah. Which is a shame because it's some of the best barbecue.
Oh, I just can't.
Oh.
I want to get there so bad. Just for that reason. I want to go there in Kansas City. So good stuff. I'm really hoping that Swanson and Correa and this Japanese player Sengai, it would be cool if they sign over the weekend. Be a fun thing to talk about on Monday because right now I have no idea where those three are going. They're still the biggest fish out there. Bassett is still available. I don't know if the Mets have locked him up yet. But we've had a lot of names signed. I mean, it's really gotten to the point now where there's not a whole lot. Those guys left on the table. There's probably a few others I'm not thinking of, but we've had a lot of action. And the best part is we've had a lot of competition for a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
In years past, a lot of teams were blah in their pursuit of them. Now you have a number of teams in on the act, which is nice to see.
And the Giants are kind of in the Baltimore part there.
Yeah, they're
tried. Swinging at people,
yep,
and
they're missing.
they have really tried. Now, apparently, they're going all out for Correa.
It makes sense. I mean, I understand why the Giants are going all out for everybody because, I mean, that's a team that has been recently great, is currently not great, but not terribly far from being good either. And it is a big market, and they're very they have a lot of pride. They're trying to get back to relevancy, and they figure the best way forward to do that, the quickest way, is to get one big middle of the order thumper. And I don't disagree. I think that's a good strategy. They're just, missing out, unfortunately for them.
Yeah. I mean, they missed out on Turner. They missed out on Bogarts.
And that Bogarts thing was something, huh?
Yeah. I mean, Correa and Swanson are what you have left.
Yep.
And what a beautiful ballpark.
Oh, that's one of the best ballparks in all of baseball.
And otherwise, a city I have little interest in. That ballpark would be one reason to make that trip.
Yeah.
Sit out by McCovey. Oh, man.
I was surprised they never renamed that Bonds something or other. I guess it doesn't roll off the tongue, but he had so many shots into that thing. It was like almost weekly on Sports Center, like a Bonds home run would go into McCovey Cove for like 3 years. I felt like in 4 years, I felt like that was like a weekly occurrence.
That might be I never considered changing.
No, I don't. I get it, but not
that I wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's just never.
Yeah.
It just never occurred to me.
Yeah, because he used to hit things over there all the time. It was just nonstop, one after the other. It was like, wow. But anyway, there we go. That's hour number 1. Coming up, we have hour 2, which will have the top 5. Today's top 5. Rich is on the hot seat. We're asking the top 5 best rule changes that he's either witnessed or is aware of, even if it was before his time. Then we also, of course, have news you can use, our NFL picks for the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're going to give you what to watch over the weekend. NHL, NBA, anything beyond football. Because obviously we're going to talk about all the football games too during our picks. So that's what's on tap for hour 2. Back after this, it's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave. All righty, welcome back. Hour 2, the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave, cavetalkradio.com, Cave Talk Radio app. Great to have you aboard Facebook and YouTube Live. We will be accessible exclusively there next week, 10 to noon, Facebook Live. Gary Ayd, Rich Anselmo. Great to have you aboard. Hour 2, top of the hour. Time for some Jack George in the top 5.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time for King Talk Radio's Top 5.
Yep, there we go. All right. So, top 5 today. We already revealed it. A reminder, Rich is on the hot seat. Question today is, best rule changes in sports history, ones that were positive for the sport.
Oh, man, that is life-changing, being introduced in by Jack George.
I'm telling you.
That is just
good stuff. Only the best.
Let's see. Where do I start? Well, going back well before my time, the 24-second clock in basketball.
That probably has to be number 1, right? It really turned it into an actual sport. Before that, it was kind of just an exercise, really, that a couple of curious souls would be like, what the hell are they doing? But that 24-second clock turned it into an actual game and a sport. I agree. That has to be probably number 1.
I mean, before then, there was...
scores were like low-scoring football games.
You'd score, and after every score, there was a jump ball.
Oh, yeah.
So if you had a bigger guy, you were going to win.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Let's stay with the NBA. The 3-point shot.
So you like the 3-point shot as a rule?
I do.
Okay.
The NBA was stodgy before that. And thing about the 3-point shot, I mean, of course, if you're going to look, I mean, I would take either one because, the 3-point shot or the 24-second clock, they've both done different things. I mean, the 3-point shot, it changed the entire nature of the game, the strategy, the defense. For colleges, the types of players recruited and the types that excelled or didn't. And that was extremely big. Let's go to the NFL, 2-point conversion. Again, now I grew up with the AFL.
Okay.
Which had, I mean, the first 4,000-yard passer, Joe Namath.
Joe Namath, yep.
And the NFL was stodgy, running on first down. We got 3 yards. Run it again. We might get 4. And they would have never considered a 2-point conversion. And one was wide open and fun, and the other one was cringeworthy. Except for a few teams, it was really sleep-inducing. And the 2-point conversion actually was something that, I mean, and it took them years, too. Even after they approved it, it took them years. We can't change that. And now you see teams use it still judiciously, but as a late game weapon.
Yeah, I was going to say, unlike the first 2 you mentioned, that's not a pervasive thing in the NFL. I mean, it's there, but it's not like an every possession type of occurrence. So it's a little different. But yeah, it is a cool strategic option. It does change the math quite a lot in close and late situations, or even just close situations. I mean, if you're down, let's say you're down, I don't know, 20 to 12 in the second quarter, and you score a touchdown, there's a good chance you're going to go for the tie, right? I mean, and then if you don't get it, now all of a sudden you're still down 2. Now they hit a field goal. So instead of being down by, 1 field goal, now you're down 2 scores. or a touchdown rather. He down a touchdown. So it does
Right.
change the calculus quite a bit.
And it's not, yes, and it's still more of a late game strategy, but let me see. Baseball, when they changed the size of the mound, I was young in 1968, but I remember pitchers just dominating.
Yep. That was the
And
year
if
of
you
the
were
pitcher.
if you were a really good pitcher, like
Bob
a Bob Gibson,
Yep.
your ERA was 1.12. Something had to be done, and that change of the mound was very, very good.
All right.
Let me see. Some people will
Have there been any big rule changes in the NHL over the years?
they're not really big.
Mhm.
I do like the fact that they, and a lot of people don't, but I like the fact they went to 3-on-3 hockey for the overtime.
Okay.
Because if you're in a 2-2 game and you had no space to operate, and it was a tough defensive game for 60 minutes, giving you a few more minutes is not going to change anything.
Right. Right.
If it's 3-on-3, one missed play, one mistake can break you out. And I've seen a lot of exciting overtime goals like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one I was thinking of for hockey.
See, though, as much as I'm not a hockey fan, the one rule that I thought was cool that they've put in relatively recent times, I like the shootout.
Oh, I do too.
I think that's cool.
I do too. I hate games that end in ties.
But you can still have a tie, though. Right? Like,
In hockey, no.
okay, so they do go until there's a winner with the shootout, because I thought there was like a limit to that. Okay.
No, during the playoffs, you're going to play, if you play 4 extra periods of hockey, you're playing
Right.
till someone scores. And I've seen 3 and 4 overtime games in playoff hockey. But yeah, that was the other one I was going to mention was the shootout. And yeah, I like a determined winner. And that's what drives me nuts about soccer. Well, they played to a tie. I mean, it's happened twice this year in the NFL, but it's not a regular occurrence. But I don't see any reason why you can't just win a regular game. I don't know what they do in the NFL to fix that. My idea was play a full quarter instead of 10 minutes, but say in the Giants Washington game, would that have made a difference?
What's that? A 2-point? What?
5 more minutes of overtime? Probably not.
Well, I've always thought that I think in football they should play a full, or not necessarily the same length, but whatever length is decided on, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, whatever it is, they should just play a full quarter. Like
that's exactly what I said.
Yeah. So I agree that I think they should do that.
I have always felt that way. Play the full 15 minutes.
Toby agrees.
I know there have been a lot of rule changes like targeting in the NFL, which I think is good. But I think at times those are taken too far.
Yes. You see, one rule change I don't like is the dissolution of practice time. I think it clearly shows in a big way in the first quarter of every season, particularly since teams don't care about the preseason. So it's like really you're watching essentially practice games the first really 3 or 4 weeks of the regular season in a lot of cases.
Yeah. A very recent one, the MLB adding 2 wild card teams.
Yeah, that was confusing at first. But
See, I loved it from the beginning because it made the drudgery of a long season more worth it.
see, I liked the format they had prior to this year, the one where they had it was the 2 wild card teams in each league, and it was a 1-game playoff between those wild card teams. I liked that. I thought this year's format was a little elongated because one of the things I loved about baseball was how exclusive even making the playoffs was. I mean, I know it to your point, it does create some drudgery. I understand that. But if you're going to play 162 games, this should be a real premium put on, who were the best teams record wise over that span, because over 162, that pretty much gives you a good idea of who the best teams are. You know what I mean? It really does. It's not like, there's not a lot of variance you can interject with that because there's so many games. But I loved the 2 wild cards. But it was just the first round was a 1-game playoff, and then that was it. Now it's like this extra thing where it's like there's 3 wild cards, you have the bye.
Yeah, and I don't like the 1-game playoff.
Okay.
I don't like losing, playing 162 to have a chance to lose it in 1.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the argument there would be that, it's not like if you're in that situation, it's because you barely made it. Right? I mean,
there's no barely, though. Either you make it or you don't.
Well, there's a big distinction between being a wild card and winning a division.
Yeah, but
I mean, that's even the bigger distinction with that now. I mean, if you win, your division with a good enough record, you even get a bye in the first round now.
yeah.
So there's even a bigger distinction. And then as a wild card, you're at a huge disadvantage. You got to play a 3-game series all on the road just to get into the
one
playoffs.
of those teams gets to play a 3-game series at all.
Well, the higher of the 2 wild cards.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Seattle went and beat Toronto on the road.
Yep.
I don't know. College basketball, making the 30-second time clock or shot clock a big deal because the college game could have been boring.
Yeah, I think that still has work to do. I think the college clock should be 28 seconds or 27. I think it should be shaved down by like 2 more seconds. I always thought 28 was the perfect number. You do want to recognize that they're not pros, so I guess it should be a little bit less. But I think 30 still is a tick or two too many. But it definitely was a big improvement over, what was it, 35?
Yeah. No, it wasn't. Remember, at one point there was none. Remember Dean Smith, the 4 corners?
Oh, way back when it was none. Yeah, but more recently it was
then
35.
It went to 45. But if we remember the 1985 title game with Villanova and Georgetown was the better team.
Mm-hmm.
They were dominant, but Villanova goes 9 for 10 shooting in the second half. And they win that game. Because they just dribbled and passed and did things.
Yep.
About 9 years ago, the NHL changed rules to shorten the goalies' pads. I still think they're too big. When a goalie lays down to make a save and he stacks his pads, he blocks half the net. But it was a step in the right direction. Let me see if there's anything else. The NFL. Oh, go ahead.
One that I thought has never been put in place that I think is odd, given that it tops our list. Most high school doesn't have a shot clock of any kind.
I know.
Which is just weird to me.
It is.
It's just weird.
Most high schools now play at the pace where it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but they're not compelled to. I mean, if I was a coach of a vast underdog, I absolutely would employ the, George Mikan strategy of keep away. Like, why wouldn't
Yeah.
I? You know, there's nothing compelling me. Yeah, sure. It's boring and we're all going to hate it. I don't like it any more than the next person does if I'm the one implementing it. But if my job's to like win a game and I'm like a vast underdog and I know if we just play basketball, we can't beat this team, well, I'm going to try to get up for nothing and then try to have 3-minute possessions, 4-minute possessions. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Right.
I mean, why wouldn't I?
And I have one more.
Okay.
The MLB All-Star game after a ridiculous tie one year. All right, this game counts for something. I liked it.
Yeah, I did too. I really did. I know people complained about it incessantly, which is why they eventually changed it back, but I really did like it. I mean, because
It's a shame. They shouldn't have changed it
no, I
back.
agree. Because the thing is, like, people say, well, why is the World Series home field on the line with all-star games? All these guys aren't going to play in the World Series. Well, a lot of them are. I mean, if you're on a team that's contending for that's a good team that could potentially be in the World Series, you probably have 2 to 5 people each team. Like there's probably, I bet you if you went back and looked at the roster of the last 10 All-Star games, I bet you would find on average between 4 and 12 players from the 2 teams that eventually made the World Series on the collective roster between both leagues. I bet you would.
Yeah.
I mean, because think about it. I mean, just this year, how many All-Stars did the Phillies and Astros have collectively? We could look that up in the break, but or I could look it up now while you put your stuff in order. But because I'm gonna bet you it's probably about 8 between the 2 teams.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So go ahead,
Oh.
put these in order. What do we got?
The NBA with the shot clock is first.
It has to be. Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely first. The NHL adding a shootout is second. There's many reasons why, although gaining in popularity, soccer is not one of the most popular sports in the country. And a lot of people are infuriated with ending ties. I'm one of them. Changing the mound in baseball's got to be number 3.
Okay.
The 3-point shot in basketball is number 4. And 3-on-3 hockey in overtime is number 5.
There you go.
Just edging out the 2-point conversion in football. But the reason that got edged out was it's still just not used that much.
By the way, I was 1 off as best I can tell. The Astros had 5 All-Stars. The Phillies had 2. Which makes sense because the Phillies were like a late blooming kind of late season run type of team this year.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know if they were 500 at the All-Star break. If they were just barely there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was just about that.
Yeah. So there you go.
Something quick that just came in. DeJounte Murray expected to miss 2 weeks with an ankle injury.
Oof, that hurts.
So that hurts the Hawks, which makes that Atlanta-Brooklyn game even a little more intriguing.
It sure does. I love watching DeJounte Murray too. He's one of my favorite guards in the NBA. I'm sorry to see him out for a couple of weeks. He's fun.
He is. He's a great watch.
Yeah, he is. Good player. A really good player.
So I know there's something I'm forgetting.
No, I think you did a pretty good job. So,
and I'm not going to include things that infuriate me, like the tuck rule and things like that.
Well, yeah,
the NFL has more useless rules than any of the other sports combined,
except for baseball.
And baseball has its share.
Because baseball has a bunch of useless rules, but the problem with them is they're not even rules because they're not written. It's like imaginary numbers and math. Wait, they're not even real? What the hell then? What are we talking about?
I don't talk about the unreal. The NFL, what's a catch? What's not a catch?
Yep.
A running back could be falling out of bounds, but lean the ball over the goal line and it's a touchdown. A receiver's got to have 2 feet down, turn, salute the flag, do a jig before they'll call it a touchdown.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Confusing.
And I guess today's the point of today was the best rule changes. That was the exact question. So anything you don't like, of
Yes.
course, by default doesn't qualify. A pretty good list.
Although, oh man, we could do a list of the worst rule changes. And there's other things I hated leaving off, widening the lane in basketball.
Yep.
Just so many things.
Yeah, the thing that would make my don't like list, although now with the way the game is played, it would probably be a moot point. It wouldn't matter because you couldn't do it anyway. But for a lot of years, I never liked the defensive 3 seconds being added as a violation. I really did.
A lot of people loved it.
Yeah, I know they did. I was in the minority with that, but I never liked that. It's one of the few things I like better about college basketball is that's still technically not a violation in college basketball.
Right.
One rule I would love to see would be doing away with the 5 seconds closely guarded crap in college. I hate that. That drives me nuts. You don't see it called a lot, but
It's still a rule in the NBA, but no one ever calls
it. It's not it's called something else though, because it's not on the books as 5 seconds closely guarded. It's got to be called something else. I don't think it is really a rule. I know because what happens in the NCAA and lesser fans of lesser discretion, I guess would be the way to describe it, like this, and it drives me nuts. A lot of people say, well, college is better because they pass the ball. I said, they don't pass the ball. They play patty cake and hot potato to avoid this one stupid rule. And like throwing it from me to you and then you to me 3 times because neither of us can do anything. It doesn't accomplish anything. That's not passing the ball. It's like everyone touches the ball. Yeah, because they're all standing around because there's only 2 guys on the court that can create their own offense. And we have this dumb rule which limits those guys being able to do that because they don't have time to size up their man from a triple threat. So we get a lot of useless passing. Like that's all it accomplishes. Oh, I hate that rule. It drives me nuts.
I'll give you one more. I hate the onside kick rule in the NFL that you can't have all your guys on one side anymore. There's got to be 6 here. Why? They're useless. If you're kicking this way and you got 5 guys over here, they're useless. They're window dressing.
Yeah, that's a good one. I
like the scrum. Just kick it and go for it.
Well, it's a player safety thing. That's probably exactly what it is. That's probably exactly why they did that.
And then again, how many rules were like, and I'm not using typical politics, but politically enforced because something has happened.
Oh, well, yeah, that's the whole reason for player safety being a concern is it's league safety too. And what I mean by league safety is trying to avoid lawsuits and fines and all that stuff. But which has been a principal focus of Roger Goodell since he's been the commissioner for almost 20 years now. I guess he's like 15 years into the job. I think he took over in 2006 from Paul Tagliabue.
Yeah.
So,
and there's also been a thing for years now about eliminating fighting in hockey. And you know something? Fighting's up this year, and I'm there for it.
Well, yeah, that's like hockey's calling card for anyone who doesn't really watch this sport. It's the only thing like they know about it. Really, is like, oh, that's a sport where they fight. Like my friend Taylor at work, she'll talk about that. She lives in Austin. She went to a Stars game, and she's like, I don't know the first thing about it. I don't care. I just like that they can fight.
Yeah.
That's like all she cares about.
It's fun. You very seldom see anyone get really hurt. Especially now. I'm not talking about like the Detroit, Colorado stuff in the 90s where they would just literally just beat the crap out of each other until they bled. It's a lot different now, but you take your aggressions out. They'll chirp a little bit at each other. And they're out for dinner together after the game. It's no, feud.
All eating soup because they're lacking teeth after getting them knocked out in the fight.
That's why you have fake ones. I remember talking to Rob Ray, former tough guy of the Sabres. Not to get off on a tangent, I'll make this quick. And I asked him once, I said, who was the guy you hated the most when you played? And Rob was a notorious fighter. In fact, he had an ESPN commercial where they were expecting a delivery and the guy didn't have any ID, and Rob Ray came out and beat him up. when ESPN made fantastic commercials.
Oh yeah, they used to make great commercials.
And he said the guy he hated the most was Ty Domi. He said if I saw him in the street, I'd run him over with my car. And the funny thing is now they're in each other's charity golf tournaments.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
They run each other over with their golf carts.
They're actually
bumper carts,
a lot closer. And
bumper carts.
I think when you get to a certain age, too, feuds are just stupid.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think they're always fun.
Save them for rappers. You know,
I always liked them. In fact, a number of years ago, when they made a documentary about Larry Bird and Magic Johnson on HBO, about 10 or 12 years ago now, and one of the key interviews during it was Cedric Maxwell, who was plenty old by then. He said something to the effect of, if I was walking down the street and one of those guys were on fire talking about the Lakers and I had a glass of water, I would have drank the water. This is 25, 30 years after the fact, so it hadn't mellowed at all.
And some people are like that. I mean, Isaiah Thomas today talks about, oh, man, I really feel bad about the handshake thing.
Yeah.
Against the Bulls. If I could do that over again, I would. And Bill Lambert's like, I was the one that initiated it, and I wouldn't shake their damn hands today.
Well, that's how I feel. I never was a big, all those symbiotic sportsman, things. I just think they're blah, blah, blah. Like, if I just lost to someone, particularly if I don't like them, like those two teams didn't like each other, I'm walking off. I'm not, the hell with it. I don't care. I do that when I play poker. If I lose a big hand and I'm pissed, I don't say good hand or good luck. I get up and walk away before the dealer has even mucked the cards. The hell with that.
Again, in hockey, that's more of a tradition.
Well, no, it's all tradition, and I'm not about it. That was one tradition. I remember being 12 years old, not being down with that. I got suspended one time in my rec league by my coach because I refused to do that. I was 12 years old. I've believed this my whole life. That's just garbage to me. No, I don't like you. You're the opponent. If you beat me, I'm not happy. No, I'm not saying good game. The hell with it. No, it wasn't a good game. I lost.
Yeah.
I've always felt that way. So I'm with Lambier on this one. The hell with them guys.
I was in the long run to win more than I lost. So, but yeah, I never liked it. I watch events now and I'm like, I see players like the NFL game, the players congress. I said, don't go shaking his hand.
Well, they're all buddies. Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm not into that much, but
that's where hockey, it's been a tradition since the early 1900s.
Right.
To form that line at the end of the game and they're shaking each other's hands. But in these sports now, because they all work out together, they all know each other, they all have the same agents, 5 or 6 agents.
Yeah.
It's a lot different now. The game's extremely different.
Yep. There we go.
Holy shnikes. I just saw the time.
That was fun. That was good.
Got picks to make. Yeah, that was fun.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll do those picks, and then we'll kind of wrap it up with some news you can use. That's what's on tap the rest of the way. We'll throw a couple of games to watch over the weekend in there as well. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. SmartFares has specials with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines, plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. That's 800-370-2460.
Come on. You watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes. Then, if you owe back taxes or haven't filed in a few years, get ready. The IRS, the largest collection agency in the world, will be coming after you. with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Hey, they can freeze your bank account, your passport, even padlock your business. Oh, good times. Look, if the IRS claims you owe them $5,000 or more in back taxes and they're coming after you, don't panic. Call my friends at Get a Tax Lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do, and you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. That's 800-649-8617.
All righty, we're back here on the Gary Ayd Show, and it's time to do our NFL picks. Man, I'll tell you what, Rich, the season is just chugging along.
I know.
It's amazing.
Week 14.
Unbelievable. All right.
Let's start Sunday afternoon. Let's start the 1 o'clock games. Jets at Bills.
You know, this game I think might be closer than I normally would expect it to be. Division games.
I expect it to be close.
Yeah, division games tend to be competitive in general, even when the teams have a talent gap. And the loss of Von Miller, I think from a standpoint of like, okay, now he's really gone for the year. I think that's going to have a mental impact in this game. I really do. I'm going to go ahead and say the Bills win, but I think this game's going to be very, very close. It wouldn't surprise me if the Jets did win, but I'm going to say the Bills win.
Agree. I figured it's going to be about 20-17. But I do laugh when I hear Jets players talk like, yeah, we beat them once, we'll do it again. Yeah, put your big boy pants on and come up to Buffalo. You barely won.
Yep.
It's not a blowout. If you beat them 31-7, I'd say, all right, you got a point. But right now, I wouldn't be saying much. Browns at Bengals.
I gotta go with the Bengals here. I mean, I don't love the Bengals really, but they're a way better team than the Browns. I mean, you have to go. You have to go with the Bengals.
Yeah, I agree. Texans at Cowboys.
Oh God, this is gonna be a beatdown of epic proportions. The Texans stink, and well, the Cowboys don't. Gotta go with the Cowboys here by like a bludgeoning. What's the line on this game? It's 17.
Yeah, I think they beat that.
The money line on this game is 1,000 plus 1,000 on the money line for the Texans. It's minus 1698 on the Cowboys. This doesn't even look real. It looks fake. Looking at this, a 17-point spread.
That's the kind of thing, though. I would not blow the budget, but I'd put $10 down
on the Texans. Why not?
They
right?
Pulled it the upset of the year off, and you'd win $10,000.
Yeah, right.
Here's a game I think is going to be closer than a lot of people think. Vikings at Lions.
Yeah, the Lions have been playing pretty good. In fact, they're favored in this game, which is this makes it
5 wins this year.
This makes it my bet of the night. I'm definitely on Minnesota on this one on the money line. They're the better team, and I'm getting plus money. I'll take it every time. It's only a 2-point spread, so Detroit's actually a 2-point favor here. I'm going with the Vikings, and I'm actually betting this game. I'm putting it on the money line. I think the Vikings win.
Is that your pick of the week?
It is.
Will we not know that until Sunday?
No, that's my pick of the week. That's
Okay.
That's definitely my pick of the week. The other one you could make is actually a game we already talked about. The reason it's not my pick of the week is I don't think they're actually going to win, but I do think the Jets are going to be in this game. And if you were feeling frisky,
what's the spread?
The spread's 10, which
that's ridiculous.
You can cover that, but the problem is you're not getting plus money. If you bet on the money line, if you actually think the Jets could win this game, you're going to get almost 4-1 on your money. You're getting plus 375 for a game that's going to be close. The way I bet games that you would maybe normally bet the spread, I don't like to bet the spread. The way I bet games like that is if I think the game could be close where it could go either way, if I'm getting a real nice value on the money line, I'll just take the money line, even if I think the other team is still going to win. If I think it's going to be close and could go either way, then I'm happy to take the value and take my chances. So I would consider that with this game, except that I'm so confident the Vikings will win and they're getting plus money, even though it's a small amount. That makes it a little bit better bet for me because I actually think it's going to happen.
Okay. Jaguars at Titans.
The Jaguars at one point in the season I thought were like, maybe on their way to being better. Now they've kind of fallen on their face again. The Titans haven't looked great recently either. A little turmoil, fired their general manager. That said, they're the better team. They're home. I think the Titans win this game. It's probably low scoring. The over under on this is 41.5. I might even bet the under there. But I think the Titans get the job done. I think they win.
I think the Jags are improving some. I mean, they had a big hole to dig out of, and it's not going to happen in a year.
Right.
And I think they are getting a little better, but the Titans are typically a team that does not lose 2 in a row.
It's true.
A good game. It's another one that's not easy. Eagles at Giants.
Ooh. I mean, it's hard not to pick the Eagles because, they've been the best team in the NFL all year. Funny enough, this game does not have a over under attached to it yet, which is interesting.
Wow.
But the Giants are 7.5 point home underdogs. If there was a time that I would bet the spread, I think this is a good time to do it. I think the Eagles win by a touchdown. I think that hook plays. I think you win by the hook if you bet the Giants to cover here. I don't think they can win the game. I think Philly's better than them. Mainly Philly's athleticism and speed at the skill positions, I think is just going to be a little too much for the Giants. I think the Giants defense keeps them, under wraps to a degree. But I think
the running game can keep their offense
off the field. Yeah. So, but I think
the Philly offense.
But I think those two things only work to a point. I think Philly still scores about 23, 24 points, which I think will be just a little too much for the Giants. So I think the Giants, I'm going to say 24-17 is your final score in this one.
Okay. The last 1 o'clock game, Ravens at Steelers.
This is always like a game I mark on the NFL calendar every year. It's not quite what it used to be like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, but it's still always a good game. 2 cold weather teams, 2 rivals, 2 organizations that are always competitive, usually very physical. This is just like, it's probably my favorite matchup in the entire NFL. Just always a good game. And Vegas expects this one to be close too. It's just a 2-point spread. Pittsburgh's actually favored by 2 points at home. Again, this is another one very similar to my bet of the week. It's pretty much the same bet. You're getting the same spread, plus 110 on the money line to take the Ravens. I'm taking the Ravens in this one and getting positive money to take the team that I think should be favored. Let's go. I'm in. Let's do it.
I have bounced back and forth on this game.
Yeah, it's easy to do. I can see why.
Steelers have been playing better. And if there's any team that can blow a lead if they have one that doesn't play in Las Vegas, it's the Ravens.
That's right.
But I'm taking the Ravens because I think they are just that much better.
Okay. Makes sense to me.
Sure, it won't be by a lot.
Yeah, probably.
This is going to be a defensive game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, short 4 o'clock. We have 3 4 o'clock games this week. Chiefs at Broncos.
Oh boy,
I can't even say it with a straight face.
Beat down city. And believe it or not, this is actually a lower spread, Rich, than Texans and Cowboys. It's an 8.5 point spread. It's almost half. Actually, It's exactly half. But that said, Chiefs are gonna murder these guys. I mean, this could be a disaster. So if I were you, here's a bet for you. It's 8.5 right now. Let's tease that baby up. I'm gonna go. Jeez, how high can I get this? How high can I go? Kansas City minus 10.5. I get positive money at that point. Fine, let's do it. They're going to win by 2 touchdowns at least.
Yeah.
This game's going to be like 34 to like 20 or something like that. 34-17. It's going to be a massacre, I think.
I think so too. Buccaneers at Niners.
This is interesting. I mean, the Bucs have been playing a little better of late. The Niners, meanwhile, of course, have a rookie quarterback coming in and starting his first full starting game. Obviously, he played most of the last game with the injury to Garoppolo. I don't really know where to go with this one. I'm just going to go with the Niners are the better team when they're at home. They're a 3.5-point favorite. I think they win. But I'm apprehensive. I never like going in to face Tom Brady with a rookie quarterback. That's never a good feeling.
Yeah, Tampa Bay's been playing better. They're 500 and leading their division. I think the Niners are considerably better.
Yep.
The last 4:00 game, Panthers at Seahawks.
You know, I don't like Seattle at all, but Carolina stinks. So I got to go Seattle here. Carolina's awful.
I figured, I mean, the bloom's coming off the rose in Seattle.
Yep.
It is. And I figured I didn't see how many more times I would be picking them.
But this is one of them.
It's home.
Yeah.
It's Carolina.
And it's Carolina.
Yeah.
Carolina's garbage. Yeah.
So Sea Hags for you.
Yes.
Okay, the Sunday night game, Dolphins at Chargers.
This is one of my favorite games on the schedule this week. I expect fireworks. Vegas agrees. It's 52.5 is your over-under. I'm going to go last-ditch effort. I'm calling a losing streak for the Dolphins. 2 games lost in a row. I think the Chargers at home to save their season and keep their season alive. I think they go all in here, and I think they get it done. Look for 4 touchdowns or better from Justin Herbert. I think you're going to see him bombs away, and I think he's going to shred up this Miami defense. I got the Chargers in the upset on the money line plus 145 to save the season. Let's go Lightning Bolts.
I went back and forth on this game too, and I ended up in the same place you did. I think the Chargers are the more desperate team.
Yep.
I think if 1 or 2 things happen to Miami that they're not used to, or something derails, I think they'll go into panic mode because this team's just had it on cruise control, and that doesn't last forever. You got the Chargers too. Okay. So we're both the same on that.
Yep. I'm surprised at that one.
Monday night game. Patriots at Cardinals.
This is a tough one to call. I'm going to go with the Patriots here. They're slight favorites on the road. I don't feel good about this. This is a toss-up game to me. This is the toughest game, I think, on the schedule to pick this week. I really don't have a great feeling on how this game's going to go. But I'm just going to go with the Patriots because, well, I have to pick somebody, so I'm picking the Patriots. Not a lot of conviction there, to say the least.
No, I had no conviction for this game. The Cardinals play a little better at home than they do on the road, but lately they've been losing at home too, which is why I went with the Patriots.
There you go. Okay, so we picked all the same games, didn't we?
Yeah. Putting your pick down here.
Not a single different one. Too much alike.
Well, there were a lot of just.
Well, I thought that Miami game was likely that we would be on opposite sides of that. Same with the Pittsburgh and Baltimore game. I thought those 2 games, the games I thought would be in play where we could easily have different opinions, were those 2. Maybe Giants and Eagles, but I didn't think so. And maybe Vikings and Lions. I thought maybe we might be on the opposite sides too. Like those were games that were all like you could go either way with. That's why I thought one of them might fall on different sides. And I thought for sure you were going to take Houston against Dallas. I don't know.
I might want to do that $10 bet just to get 10 grand.
Well,
Just a chance to get 10 grand.
Well, it would be 1,000, not 10 grand.
Or
because it would be basically like 10 times 10. So
yeah,
it would be 100. But still,
yeah.
$10 to make $100.
It's not 100. It's what's the thing?
It's plus 1,000.
Right.
Right.
Plus 1,000 on how much bet.
Right. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yep. There you go.
So it would be, if I put $10 down, it would be more. It would be 10,000.
Oh, there you go. So either way,
and I would like that.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, I could look at it two ways. That's a chance I'm more than willing to take, or man, that's lunch. You know.
That's right.
Oh, good stuff.
That is good stuff. Good week in the.
Disagree with me on a couple games too.
Yeah, I really thought we were going to be different on at least one of those games I just mentioned.
Yeah, I really thought we were going to be different on the Ravens game and on the Chargers game.
Mm-hmm.
But there were a lot of games that were just too easy.
Yeah. Yep. So
and that's what makes it tough. Okay.
All right. Well, there we have it. So let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up with some news you can use and also a few NBA games to watch over the weekend. Back after this to close it up. The Gary Ayd Show here in the cave.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking out there.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
All righty. So a lot of NBA action over the weekend, Rich. We talked about the Friday games in hour one. Quick recap of those: Sacramento and Cleveland, LA and Philadelphia, Phoenix and New Orleans, and Dallas is playing. Who is Dallas playing again? They're playing Milwaukee. There we go.
Yeah.
So those were like the highlights of today's schedule. What do we got for the weekend?
For the weekend, Dallas again, second game of a back-to-back with travel, but Milwaukee to Chicago's not bad. They're playing the Bulls. Going to be interesting.
Yep.
There's not a lot on the Saturday. I normally would have said Celtics Warriors, but not now.
Yeah, the Warriors aren't playing very good. That's on ABC too. That could be a dud.
Yes, it's an early evening game.
Yep.
Jazz Nuggets Saturday kind of looks interesting. The Nuggets are just not operating on all cylinders. And the Jazz are pretty much giving you what you thought they would.
Yep. So there you go. Sunday, I'm looking at Sacramento and New York locally is an interesting game. And that's really the only one of any interest at all. I mean, these other games
Yeah.
are kind of duds. You got Phoenix and New Orleans again on Sunday, so they have a home and home back to doubleheader separated by one day.
Right.
Actually, no, I'm sorry, it's not home and home. It's 2 games in New Orleans.
Yeah, that's right.
That's weird. But yeah, so they're playing 2 games in New Orleans, separated by the off day in between on Saturday. So I guess that would be the other game on Sunday that's worth watching. But I'll be watching the Laker game against Detroit just because I'm a Laker fan, but that's obviously not like a sexy matchup. All right, what do we got? We have a few minutes left. Give us a couple of news you can use items.
Okay, I got a few good ones. Cardinals defensive coordinator Vance Joseph said the Patriots look like a defensive guys calling offense. You're absolutely right. It's Matt Patricia.
Yep.
I don't know why that surprises you. Al Michaels complaining last night about the Rams PA announcer is priceless television. He said, you have a PA announcer here who incessantly screams, whose house? I hate it. He wants them to say Rams house. But as far as the Raiders are concerned, this is kind of like their A, B, and B. It may not be their house, but because the place was half Raiders fans.
That's pretty funny. I mean, Al Michaels is great. He's just, even his sense of humor is funny.
Steph Curry was asked to create a lineup consisting of all-time greats for him to play alongside of. A lot of people were surprised that there's one player not in it.
Would that be Klay Thompson?
Curry said, I'm going with Magic. We'll play hybrid guards. You got Jordan at 3. You got Dirk spacing the floor. And you got Shaq holding it down. That's a solid lineup.
Ew. Oh, man. I mean, I don't like that at all. I think you got almost that whole thing wrong. I mean, there's obviously no LeBron. I would never choose Shaq over with Curry, I'd probably go Bill Russell because I need someone to play defense.
Yeah.
But I definitely go either Russell, Chamberlain, or Olajuwon or Kareem before I take Shaq.
Oh, I agree.
And Dirk, okay, I get it. It's not an awful pick, but I don't know.
No, I actually like Dirk there. He's got a guy that'll space the floor.
Yeah, I guess Curry's the shooting guard in this setup. The Magic thing is fine. I guess I really have a hard time with the Shaq pick, but and leaving LeBron off.
Yeah.
But,
same here.
Oh well.
I got time for one more quick.
Yep.
Cowboys did not offer Odell Beckham Jr. a deal. I'm with them on this. I sent you something this morning. I'm tired of it. Enough.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't have to play. It's a third wide receiver. Who cares at this point?
I'm with you. I mean, at this point, I don't
have to play in the regular season. Then I don't want you.
Yeah, I don't want you. I'm with you at this point. By the time this is like week 14, and we still are talking about Odell Beckham. Where's he going to sign? Is he going to sign? Who's he going to sign? When's he going to sign? Like, just do it already. Like, let's get this done. Like, sign somewhere and let's play ball. Because yes, teams could use you, but you're not Jerry Rice. You're not even the best version of yourself. Like, let's stop with this. Like you said, you're a third receiver, maybe on the right team. Maybe he's a second receiver. Like if he re-signed with the Giants, for example, he might even be the number 1 there. But on the Cowboys or the Bills, he's like a 2 or a 3. He's a 2 at the absolute best, more likely a 3. Like, let's get it over with. Come on.
Let's put this in perspective. You're Josh Allen or Dak Prescott. First time you're playing with this guy is in a playoff game. It's a tight game, and he runs the wrong route.
Yep.
At that point, I think the fans would beat the hell out of him.
It's possible. Yep.
It's not worth the trouble.
I agree.
Whoever wants them can have them at this point. I don't care.
Yep. I agree.
Okay.
All right. Well, there we have it. Again, next week, Facebook only. We'll be back in the studio the following week. Of course, we'll also be Christmas is a Sunday this year, so we probably will recognize it that Friday. So we'll probably do a 4-day week that week of Christmas, and be back after the holiday. We'll talk about New Year's as it gets a little closer. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the games. We'll see you on Monday on Facebook. The Gary Ayd Show, 10 to noon, here on The Cave.